Hi everyone, welcome. This is Gaby and I'm back for another chat. Today I decided that I would reflect a little bit on what's happening lately in my life instead of actually sharing a story. Soon I will be turning 31, actually in a few days already. And I noticed that I've been quite anxious and quite fearful. And I don't know, I feel like my anxiety is peaking and it's kind of getting in the way of doing things. Additionally to that, I noticed that I'm starting to experience a little bit of burnout, which is not good for me because that's where I get into this rut state where nothing makes sense. I'm not motivated to work. I'm not motivated to do anything, even the things that I love, which sucks. I think one of the biggest problems of having anxiety for me, or depression even, is that I will not have the energy to do even the things that I love, even if they are, easy tasks, even if it's just going for a walk with my dog or baking a cake, or I love baking, or, things that make me happy, I will not do it because I just can't. It's a state of mind that it's connected to my anxiety. And so I entered this rut stage where I don't want to do anything. I'm not inspired. And whenever that happens, I usually resort to my favorite book of all times. It's called Big Magic. And I think I've read this book so many times. I think it's starting to show in some of the pages. And I love digital books, but I love having it with me, like physically. And I decided I would read one of my favorite parts that I always go back to. I even have a picture that kind of marks it as a bookmark because I love to go back to it every time. I think I read this to many people when I thought they would be inspired by this. And I think I even read it on my social media for anybody who would like to maybe listen to it. So I figured I would read it because, like I said, I'm going through a terrible moment now. I think it's more energy, more inspiration, more, what do you call this? Yeah, I guess you could define it as a rut, how to get out of a rut. Well, I read my book. And I read this last night and I read it so many times. I sometimes overanalyze words and just try to use it or interpret it my way, so that it helps me. So this particular one talks a little bit about fear and creativity, which are two things that I think go hand in hand sometimes with me. I create a lot of things. I work in a creative, my job, in order to do my job, can have to be creative. And overall, because I've been just so down, I think my mind has been blocked, and the things that I do that define me, I'm not doing them anymore. I don't find beauty in life anymore, or, sometimes it's a beautiful day, but in my mind, I'm just like not feeling it. So I noticed that it's partially because there are a lot of things coming with turning, or getting older. And I'm anxious about all those things that, entail being an adult. So I wanted to read this part right here because I absolutely love and can't connect with so much. It says, "Dearest fear, creativity and I are about to go on a road trip together. I understand you'll be joining us because you always do. I acknowledge that you believe you have an important job to do in my life and that you take your job seriously. Apparently, your job is to induce complete panic whenever I am about to do anything interesting. And may I say, you are superb at your job. So, by all means, keep doing your job if you feel you must. But I will also be doing my job on this road trip, which is to work hard and stay focused. And creativity will be doing its job, which is to remain stimulating and inspiring. There is plenty of room in this vehicle for all of us, so make yourself at home. But understand this. Creativity and I are the only ones who will be making any decisions along the way. I recognize and respect that you are part of this family, and so I will never exclude you from our activities. But still, your suggestions will never be followed. You are allowed to have a seat, and you're allowed to have a voice, but you are not allowed to have a vote. You're not allowed to touch the roadmaps. You're not allowed to suggest detours. You're not even allowed to fiddle with the temperature. Dude, you're not even allowed to touch the radio. But above all else, my dear old familiar friend, you are absolutely forbidden to drive. Then we head off together, me and creativity and fear, side by side forever, advancing once more into the terrifying but marvelous terrain of unknown outcome. I just love it so much because I think that's exactly what's happening to me as I'm entering my 30s. I have been very, very fearful about the things that I should and shouldn't do, about the expectations that I have, not even my family or friends, but just me. I tend to push hard and push myself to do things because I want to, but sometimes I overcommit, or sometimes I simply notice that because I have anxiety to deal with, I'm not enjoying them as much. But additionally to that, entering my 30s it has a different tone than what it was to enter my 20s, because now questions that I never had before are starting to arise. What am I going to do for money? Family? Am I going to do this? Am I going to stay here? Am I going to travel? Am I going to settle down? Questions that I'm sure a lot of women and men wonder have been keeping me at night, and it's been affecting also my job. And so I always find ways to look for inspiration, to look for a voice that will give me answers. And I oftentimes find that in books. And this one in particular, I've had it for so many years now. And every time I open it and read something, it kind of guides me and gives me a little bit of strength and makes me realize that it's going to be okay, that all those fears, people have fears in general, we all have thoughts. I think I read somewhere that we have, I don't know how many, but it's in the thousands. I don't know how many thoughts per day. And so your mind is always cluttered. But add to that having anxiety or, depression, I think if anything, it enhances those thoughts, and it could go really bad some days. Like the other day, for example, I couldn't sleep. My thoughts were keeping me up to the point that I actually had a headache. All of this was hurting, and I had to take medicine for my migraine. So things like this book, will always help me, and music will also relax me. So it's just a beautiful, beautiful book. And maybe if you're looking for inspiration, or if you feel like you're in a rut, you should read it, check it out. It's definitely inspiring. But yeah, I'll see you next time for another story. Bye-bye.